shit, dude. You just blew my mind.
After exiting the Matrix, you gotta come back in.
Yo, what the fuck? What are you doing here?
After realizing emptiness, you gotta put it back into the form, or else your realization is not complete. 99% of the spirituality contents out there is about waking up, but very few people talk about integration, what happens afterwards, because that's when the rubber hits the road.
Break fucking yang! The infinite meets the void!
After deconstructing every particle in reality into empty space, how do you reconstruct it to have a better dream while being outside of it? The only way to test and integrate realization is full engagement with the world and people. And this is why the last picture of the 10 ox herding picture in Zen Buddhism depicts an entity, neither human nor God, who's just returning to the marketplace and mingling with people, right? Because ultimately spirituality is about having better relationships, while realizing that there are no relationships at all. I think romantic love, sex, and family relationships are the biggest conditioning triggers, because from the biological lens, we're social creatures evolved to survive so we can reproduce. I think heartbreaks are the biggest catalyst for awakening for a lot of people. Actually, all suffering is a blessing in disguise. So your level of consciousness correlates with how much suffering you're willing to face and feel without resistance, because the only way out is through.
Bourbon Street, baby.
I call my contemplative CrossFit service MMA of the mind, or parkour of consciousness. And this video is a collection of all the coachings and Q&As and all the new insights and realization from the last year and practices as well. I'm going to show you how to flow through all the difficulties in the afterlife while abiding in the final no form of the infinite shapeshifter with no head. While there's no more shifts, realization matures and the mystery keeps getting deeper and deeper.
Like I went through all my shit with that last religion. She was my anchor to let go of everything, and then I have to let her go.
It's almost like letting go of spirituality. Zen Buddha says you have to wash away the stank of your awakening.
The last thing she said to me was, I watched you transform from a caterpillar to a butterfly, but I can't keep you in the cage anymore.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tesla, full self-driving.
Do you know what this is kind of like awakening? Yeah, before you were like driving a car, and now you just have this new operating system where it's like the whole universe is like a self-driving car. And you just kind of sit in the back seat and just chill, and things just happen. And then you have no idea where this car is gonna take you, but everywhere that this car takes you is fucking magical. I could make it all up to you.
Like you change from like just the driver in this front seat to not just the entire car, but the entire world that the car is like driving through. At first you don't know where the keys even are. You just kind of have to figure it out because it doesn't come with the driver's manual.
What's your name?
So while the spiritual seeker wants to transcend the human realm and then just hang out in the formless or the absolute, the formless actually wants to be embodied. So while you're trying to get out, you're trying to get in. Reaching the top of the mountain isn't the end of the path.
We catch gators.
How do you catch a gator?
With a hook.
You're the one, the universal, but you're also the one with a small o, the particular human being.
I don't take a real good picture.
You're nothing, everything, but also something. When you go beyond the beyond, there's nothing behind this. This right here is the spiritual realm, where the personal and the divine will are one. That's why you gotta wake up, even out of oneness. When I look out into the world, I don't even see consciousness anymore. Neither do I see a world or emptiness. Reality is both and neither conscious nor not conscious, neither divine nor mundane, neither spiritual nor material. It transcends but includes both being and non-being. See, you suffer because you think one part of the reality is more real or unreal than another.
So at the end, you transcend even the duality between self and no-self.
So I was like staring into his eyes.
When I look into your eyes,
things just started dropping.
it's like that vastness of the cosmos, like literally.
Like I'm talking with you and I feel fear. I don't know, it's like talking with Bufo.
So there's no self in others. What you're experiencing from me is you're giving it to yourself. Like I'm not giving you anything that isn't already inside you.
Don't rush forward. Don't step back. Don't stand still either. You can't really go forward. You can't really go backward. You can't stand still either.
Yeah, and that's like
you can't find that point because that point is literally the non-existent singularity that manifests all of existence. It's like looking for the sun.
Oh my god!
What's your name again?
I don't know.
break?
Yeah, at least 10 years. Because it used to be like gym bros. I used to like, the entire journey I was following you. Like,
Hello, Frank. I remember watching your deadlift video in high school. So it's...
Oh, really?
Everybody want to be a bodybuilder, but don't know how to lift no heavy ass weight.
And part of this integration is just to let reality take this infinite operating system to different places to test it out. Now, this timeless, limitless, luminous, and boundless space of presence is very stabilized. There's absolutely no distinction between stillness and movement. You know, traveling and taking trips is a really good way to decondition identities in the mind. You know, the reason why psychedelic trips are called trips is because when you trip, you see the world in brand new ways. In a natural state, it feels like you're on LSD 24/7 naturally.
The boundlessness just keeps going. Whoa. Crazy.
And when I go from city to city, it doesn't feel like I'm physically moving from this to that world. The car of reality is driving itself, but then this car is completely formless. So imagine that you're a fish, and then you start doing Vipasanna, the fish's body completely dissolves to water. So if it's just air on air, it's not going to make sense to the quote-unquote bird what quote-unquote flying is. The reality is shape-shifting itself. So you're never actually moving closer or further away from anything, and distance and locations are illusions fabricated by thought. There's simply this panoramic hologram, shape-shifting, fluxing, fluctuating like an infinite kaleidoscope at the level of sensations. Your mind and body and the contours around it is also part of this indivisible kaleidoscope. In actuality, there's just empty fullness rolling on. It's kind of like putting on a VR goggle, you know, when you're walking around the VR world, are you really moving from A to B? Who or what is doing the walking? Is there an entity in here moving through space that's out there? So if you dissolve the center, the circumference disappears. And so goes distance, space, time, body, mind.
Cambodian people are so pure.
Yeah, you the same.
So wherever you go, the place rises out of thin air, only upon perception.
This video, 360 degrees. Yes. When you do Vipassana, you also feel very close, yeah? Yes.
The moment you're not perceiving it, it ceases to exist. Because even consciousness itself is part of this arising and passing away. Consciousness is also conditioned. It's codependent arising with the object of perception, not exists in and of itself. So consciousness or awareness cannot be a self or a ground that you can attach your identity to. One of the paradoxes to describe the what is that from one perspective, you become just a body with no mind. You see, the body's always awake. Which is the same thing as saying you become the infinite VR game without any physical bodies or entities anywhere. So the most direct way to describe emptiness is that everything, without exceptions, including all of your spiritual experiences, are mental constructions. Both nirvana and samsara are of your own creation. One metaphor that I use to describe the stages of realization is first you're a water droplet. That's a separate ego state. And then the droplet is absorbed into the ocean. That's the God consciousness phase or Brahman. But that's still a duality.
You're beautiful. Thank you. You're beautiful.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Because oneness presupposes separation, and if there's still a sense of merging between you and the divine, then there's still a subtle distance or distinction between the subject and the object. In the third stage, the entire ocean is absorbed back into the droplet, and both disappears, neither one nor the many. Now, if you want to experience what I talk about in my videos, take a trip to Miami. Yeah, it's my favorite place in the world so far.
You're a really good looking guy. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was stuck in Taiwan for 3 years because of COVID, so it's the first big city I visited since the shift.
Everyone here has such good vibes.
Because of this new stateless state, the way I perceive the world is radically different. So it's the first place that I felt a connection with on a spiritual level, as if a place is its own conscious being. Before, when I was only into pickups and bodybuilding, I couldn't see the world. But now it feels like I'm fucking the whole city. The city is just fucking itself raw without a condom. You can say that Miami is my first love. Even though on the ultimate level, everywhere I go is the same now, but on the human, more conventional level, there's something about the air, the energy in Miami. It's very mystical. People are there very pure. There's an authenticity to the people there who don't care about spirituality or awakening. There are no spiritual constraints, and that's what makes it spiritual. People genuinely show off their boats and their women, their money and cars, and they don't pretend otherwise. Other big city I visited, you can sense like the time, the history, and the culture. There's nothing behind the aesthetics of Miami. The image is the substance, source is appearance, and that's what makes it non-dual, just like the nature of mind. It's called the Magic City, just like the nature of every single sensation spontaneously pops out of thin air as air. It's completely empty, which makes it full, pristine, and luminous. Boundless bubbles within boundless bubbles. Virtual reality within a virtual reality. If you're getting triggered by this, there's something you need to investigate.
When is the last time you had a mind-blowing experience?
I'm having a mind-blowing experience right now.
Right now?
Yeah. You better say right now.
Strolling around downtown, it feels like you're just floating in an infinite shape-shifting hologram of a video game where there's no distinction between being inside and outside, where there's a perfect balance between chaos and serenity. I've never seen so many futuristic cyberpunk buildings arranged this way. That makes your mind very spacious and panoramic. You can taste vibrancy with your entire brain. It's like the afterlife where people are just enjoying the dreams without seeking anything beyond. The people there are so beautiful, they look almost surreal. Of course, the inside is, everywhere you look, it's like this.
How did you manifest this reality?
So I really didn't know that I was manifesting it. I saw your videos and I always found comfort in your videos. I think what happened was because you posted that you lost your soulmate, you lost your best friend, and I felt really touched by that, and I said I'll be your friend forever.
What's after that? It's like just a universe mind itself.
No, it was like a death too. Like that was like.
No, that was definitely a death. Okay, remember how I told you like I'm on a different phase? Like just starting from the Cambodia thing, and I'm not even creating it. All right, here's what's going on in the universe. I'm gonna turn my camera on. That's it. That's all I do. I'm not creating it, but I'm also creating all of it.
If making films and music is sculpting time, and architecture is writing frozen music, then filming and editing the 360 videos is sculpting the entirety of the space-time fabric. And you gotta move your entire body and merge it with the world.
Hi! You have insane genetics. You look so beautiful.
Ah, thank you.
How did nature produce this?
Before I came here, I was like, maybe I'll get triggered because there's so many girls here and like so many like luxury stuff. It's just like, a lot of ego stuff here, right? But then when I came here, it was just like the same peace as I experienced, like, maybe my deepest meditation. Yeah, it's just like no matter what I did, it was just like there was no center. And the practice that people engage in after awakening, it is not about getting insights or reaching higher states, because all that's done with. It's bringing practice to real life. That's pretty much what Tantra is. Just go out and live your life, and then just let whatever conditionings arise. I have a client, so he would just go to the most luxurious places and just see all these rich people and just watch them for an hour.
Of course, you can apply that to sex. If you can remain non-duality while having sex, that's Tantra.
When you sort of empty out the distinction between like self and the world, when you just this open space that allow people to unfold their own open space. See, in your direct experience, you don't have a head, you don't have a face. Instead of a head is, vast space that is the world.
And here, you never feel self-conscious. And when you don't feel self-conscious, other people don't feel self-conscious either. Because we're like mirrors to each other with other reflections.
Know your opinion about like unconditional love for all living beings.
When I look inside, I see that I'm nothing. That's emptiness. When I look outside, I see that I'm everything. That's love. And between these two poles, my life turns.
Did I say that I love
say that I want to leave it all behind.
So we're co-hallucinating this reality right here. Miami or New York doesn't exist, but at the same time, it exists in the minds of 7 billion people, just like money. And there you transcend the distinction between existence and non-existence. Nature itself doesn't distinguish between goodness and evil. Those are concepts of the mind. Right? Is it evil for a cheetah to hunt down a gazelle? But within the structure of human civilization and society, living in harmony with other people is nature's course of the least resistance. Your true nature, the body, and the entire world is like the rainbow. This is why the Dzogchen tradition, they pick the rainbow as their team mascot. It's the pristine, vibrant expression of all possible colors. It's like a dream. Its form is empty, and its emptiness is form. A hologram that's both present and not present.
Are you? What's your name again?
I don't know.
Frank?
Your videos subconsciously changed the way I'm thinking.
Really? How?
Can't even describe it, yeah.
You can perceive and experience the rainbow, but you can't touch it. Neither permanent nor impermanent. Just imagine the infinite webs and infinite webs of causes and conditionings that have to occur at the precise moment for the rainbow to appear. If you take away just one element of this co-arising, co-creation process, the rainbow disappears.
Fuck you, Trump.
I'm gonna get this bread. I'll come back to you, girl. Call me.
And this can be applied to every single sensations that you have. Every single thought, every single movement, smell, taste, sound, sight. When this appears, that appears. When this ceases, that ceases. The particle that's sitting next to the poop of a dinosaur had to be there for that precise moment, for this moment to occur exactly the way it is.
Holy shit.
Every single action, breath that you take, and every thought that you have, it's the entire universe working together in this cosmic symphony, doing its best to make this precise moment an absolute perfection where even imperfection is perfect, and things cannot be any otherwise. So look how much quote-unquote ego you must have if you think you can dictate or change reality. You have to alter the lengths of this endless net of infinite webs of causes and conditionings. It's all impersonal, where every single point is connected to every other point in the universe. See, but even the intention or the effort to try to change things is still just part of this spontaneous unfoldment. Where a grain of sand appears, there's the entire universe. Now, but dependent arising at the deepest level actually means non-arising. Cause and effect is empty without time or space, because each individual part of this co-creation process is also empty, which is why everything is also full. So it's rainbow, it's all the way down, ephemeral and without substance. And this is how every single sensation that makes up the entire universe is manifested moment to moment. A spontaneous perfection created by no one, just hanging there without any effort in the sky. And that's what you are too, and none of it. But all the stuff on a conventional level, like space-time or mind, matter, they all exist as constructions of the brain. But the brain itself, as a matter of experience, is also imagined. You've never directly perceived the brain, except for an image arising in consciousness.
When troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, birds fly over the rainbow. Why, oh, I can't I?
And this is not a concept, but something that you attain physically, viscerally, perceptually. And if you can experience this directly, it's the end of suffering.
Yo, I can't even speak right now. This is crazy.
When the center disappears, it feels like everything is a source.
What's integration again?
First you wake up in the head, that's like the emptiness stuff, and then you wake up in the heart and you wake up in the gut. You open up in the head, you bring the heart into that vast spaciousness, and you bring the gut and the rest of the being into that spaciousness, and then you integrate it again and again until they finally all merge as one and there's no more cycling. You open up a space, and then the rest of the body solidity or traumas get sucked into eternity, and then in turn you open up more space of awareness. You get deeper into the subconscious, deeper into the trauma. So you illuminate all your unconscious stuff and bring it to the conscious, right? That's why they say wake up, clean up, grow up. Now if you try to clean up before you wake up, a lot of people do shadow work all day. That's like putting lipstick on a pig. You're just piling up conditionings with more aesthetic conditionings by creating an identity of a cleaner.
Do you notice like how much ego is in somebody that you're recording?
The thing is though, I don't see ego in people. Only ego sees ego.
That's so interesting.
Say this is the source of consciousness. This is where you're trying to get to, and then this is where you started. So some people go directly to the source, like to the ultimate, to the emptiness, or like absolute whatever. The horizontal is more like your experiences. So basically, it's like the content.
But they'll say that Kundalini is God or is direct. Or
so people get sidetracked, right? So you start meditating, you go down, and then you have a spiritual experience, and then you get sidetracked. And some people start doing psychedelics, they get sidetracked. They just go this way, and they never go deeper into the source. And some people like the Zen koan stuff, like the Zen school, they just go straight up. Vipassana just go down to the source.
You can also apply the integration process to very specific practices and techniques, like the contraction of Vipassana or the expansion of the do nothing meditation. At first you're very contracted, right? You don't have any access to the vast spaciousness of awareness. And you do a little bit of Vipassana and you dissolve and penetrate the solidities a bit and see into the emptiness. And now the vast spaciousness is starting to open up, right? Now it's sort of like in the background a little bit. And then now you take that new ground, that new expanded ground as an anchor for your meditation. So now you can do Vipassana from there. That's why I call Vipassanalizing with the God mind. Some traditions call it Vipasanna, which is the merging of do nothing meditation and Vipassana. Now, if you do Vipassana from the vast space of awareness, the meditator or the witness, which is the subject, and the object, which is the object of concentration, and the direction of attention, which is what the subject uses to beam attention, the direction of attention to the object of meditation, can all be Vipassanalized at the same time, because they're all just solidified sensations. And then once you do Vipassana from there, it's easier to dissolve the rest of the solidity because now you're using awareness as a ground instead of like the meditator. So each time you open up more with do nothing meditation, you integrate the Vipassana back into the do nothing meditation. The separate self dissolves more and wider the space, and on and on and on. See, the artist doesn't actually exist, neither does the perceiver nor the artwork, apart from this process of co-arising. So when I make a video of a place, I'm creating a multidimensional model of suchness that exists neither in here nor out there. Right? Since there are zero distance in experience, me, the camera, the subject, and the whole of universe is penetrating and looping back into each other endlessly, like a snake biting its own tail, where everything is creating everything else while it's creating itself. When you're perceiving this, you're not watching an experience created by somebody else in another time or space. Because linear time is an illusion and everything is happening simultaneously. The only reason why I filmed this scene right here is because you're watching it right now.
Might have been a nightmare.
Thank you for coming. Happy Mardi Gras.
I'm Jennifer Jones, the dance queen of New Orleans. I'm Happy Mardi Gras, Jennifer Anderson.
Welcome to Cafe Du Monde, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Having an authentic ego like Michael Jordan or Kanye West is almost like the prerequisite for awakening. You have to be so intimate with yourself, like go so deep into yourself and express yourself so unapologetically that you flip yourself inside out.
Making a documentary on the swans? Yeah, you look really beautiful. This is your natural habitat.
So realization is kind of like a permanent flow state, but transcensive in that because there's no one here nor there that's flowing with anything. See, if there's only the flow, even the river disappears. All that's left is synchronicity, where every single moment is perfect manifestation. There's a book by Peter Rawson called The Genius of Being. There are no individual geniuses. Existence itself is genius. How the fuck did this come to be? The creative force is the sexual energy, is the life force of nature.
with this consciousness work, if you're trying to like wake up to your true nature, you're fucking with the most powerful force in the universe.
Bourbon Street, baby.
So you better be careful. You either start it and you finish it, or you don't start it at all.
To the Holy Spirit of God.
Hari Rama, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. I'm a monk. This is Bhakti Yoga. Purify the mind, raise the consciousness, learn about the spirit soul.
If you walk like a Buddha, dress like a Buddha, talk like a Buddha, and act like a Buddha, you're definitely not a Buddha. And if you see a Buddha on the road, kill them.
OAK all day, red and black, baby.
But on the ultimate level, everybody's a Buddha.
Louisiana. Swamp people. Ain't no place like the boot, baby. Louisiana, you hear me? Yeah.
I moved into that house right there.
That's so crazy.
The synchronicities in life is nuts. Oh my god.
We've just been like in there talking about spiritual awakening.
How did you wake up? It's hard for me to answer this question actually. The personal stories about awakening is like pretty dissolved now. So like I talk about it still when people ask me. Now it just all seems like it's just part of the dream. Like the entire past just feels like it's just part of the dream. In this moment it doesn't feel like I woke up. It's like wakefulness itself. It's always been awake. Like reality itself has always been awake. You know, sex and romance or even drugs and alcohol are just middlemen to truth realization because we all just want to return to unity and be sucked into oblivion. You know, nirvana means lights out. You know, this is why a lot of writers or artists or even people who were suffering a lot before they become seekers, they were addicted to alcohol, drugs, or sex because they were tap dancing at the edge of the mind without taking the quantum leap into eternity. You dissolve the ego into love by loving it to death. See, there's absolutely no distinction between love, death, and sex. You know, one way to describe the process is that you take any kind of high, for example, romantic love with a small L, and you smear it across the entire universe. That's love with a capital L. So you don't have to get rid of anything. Right? You're simply dissolving the conditionings, the stories and attachments, expectations around things, but letting go of resistance. You know, cravings are simply tensions or contractions somewhere in the body, usually in the head. Without resistance, or even resistance to resistance, you can have 10 chocolate cakes without cravings or suffering. Now, how do you release something? The most direct way of saying it is just let things be the way it is without trying to change anything, because nature always wants to unfold through the course of the least resistance. Now, if you're already permanently shifted into non-duality, most of your practice is going to be do-nothing meditation because there's no more insight to be gained from Vipassana. Anytime you feel like your mind is grasping and congealing, you just release it. The exact same way that you release the clenching of your fist. You do this over and over again, years on end, until you dissolve from solidity to liquid to smoke to air.
All the time I've been building my castle of love, just for two, though you never knew you were reason. I've gone much too far for you now to say that I've got to throw my castle away. Or maybe too, if you would believe, you too might be overjoyed.
Alleviating suffering was just a byproduct. To me, it's all about aesthetics. You know, the perceptual shifts and the way you experience moment-to-moment reality and how beautiful every single sensation is at the natural state is beyond any depictions that you can see in art and music. But of course, it includes all the arts and musics. You know, Socrates says truth equals wisdom equals love equals beauty. You know, if you read the Sutta, you know, Buddha's words are so poetic, it gives you goosebumps. Look what he said to describe arhatship. In the seen, there's only the seen. In the heard, there's only the heard. In the sense, only the sense. In the cognized, there's only the cognized. As you see that there is no thing here, you will see that you are therefore located neither in the world of this nor in the world of that. nor in any place between the two. This alone is the end of suffering. Just like the most aesthetic physique is the one of symmetry, the most aesthetic mind is the non-dual mind. The don't know mind is the most symmetrical mind. In the 10 fetters model in Buddhism, if you drop all 10 fetters, you're liberated. And the last fetter is the attachment to knowing or knowledge. You have to be liberated from this whole notion about knowing the nature of reality. At the end, you have to drop even the spirituality program and just be okay with the fact that you don't know anything. You don't even know that you don't know. You have to disidentify from even disidentification. All suffering comes from expecting a version of reality to exist other than the one that's happening right now, and the belief that there's someone in here that can make things otherwise.
Wild thing. It's starting to, it feels like the boundlessness just keeps going and going and going.
Really? Well, this is like a better reference for
anything. Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know if it's because it's so like visceral, like being like next to you in the field and stuff doing it. Because you're a frequency learner, you know?
Wanting to reform the world without discovering one's true nature is like trying to cover the world with leather to avoid the pain of walking on stones and thorns. It is much easier to wear shoes. And that your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render to the world. You know, before you wake up from the dream of separation, everything that you're trying to do, even if you try to provide service to the world, there's nothing wrong with that, it's great. But it's still coming from your lenses of projections, conditionings, beliefs, and biases. From the separated state, even compassion is conditional. You have no desire to wake people up.
Well, really close.
A lot of people talk about igniting a global awakening, but a lot of that is still the byproduct of the dissolution of your own spiritual programming based on lack and expectations. So all expectations are tied to victimhood. Anytime you have an expectation, you become a victim to a version of a reality that cannot possibly exist, except for the ones created by thoughts, and all thoughts are real. Thoughts cannot know anything about yourself or other people. They can't even know themselves. Now, if thoughts cannot infer anything in reality, what do they refer to? Nothing but other thoughts. Wow. So everything you believe is true, and every single opinion is thought coming on thought coming on thought. See, we're all walking around in this bubble of reality, and then we only see the reflections of ourselves projected onto this bubble, right? And when we're reacting to our own projections of other people's bubble of reality.
One day, listening to his guided meditation, I had a moment where it was just, that was the shift. Something just cracked.
This is crazy. In college, I watched videos of you playing Mendelssohn and jumping 40 inches.
Rob Burbia has a book called Seeing That Frees. Making art and just creativity in general is a really good way to tap into the process of awakening. Just the way you train your brain to model reality and process information differently.
I was talking about the tantric aesthetic theory. For engagement with your own emotional body, for engagement with your sexual self, love of art, how to find an awakened non-dual moment inside listening to a symphony, or inside a dance, or even just eating food. You can ride those into a moment of total non-dual release. The potential is there for the full spectrum of human life to all be liberated.
Somebody asked me if enlightenment can be realized through loneliness. It's hard to wake up without being completely alone in certain phases. This cultivates compassion, because if everybody's alone, then nobody is. There's nothing outside of you, but there's nothing outside of other people either. I'm not talking about celibacism here. I'm not saying other people don't exist. Neither am I saying that it exists. Each person contains the entire universe, and the universe contains all individuals while containing itself. And everyone you meet on the path is to wake you up a little bit. Everyone is your teacher. People who aren't serving truth will begin to slip away, along with the stories and the projections that you created around them. It's like every time you make a shift, you step into a new reality. And some people just aren't meant to walk through that portal with you, even though at one point you gave each other the necessary push towards truth. You can only be grateful because you held each other like mirrors to see what else needs to be let go of, and realize that things arise only to pass away,
But new connections are constantly being formed that's aligned to your current state of being. But at the same time, there's only this, where every being is the manifestation of that which has no past, no future, no present moment either.